Let's dig into how Toyota is gaining visibility and where they stand relative to their top competition, and looking at trends and movements over the time that we've been tracking this particular brand. So the first thing that we can see here is they're doing well in terms of their visibility score, outperforming the other four brands in this analysis: Honda, Subaru, Mazda, and Nissan. So let's dig into that a little bit. They've increased their share of voice here since the last time we measured it. We're measuring it weekly. There were 8 citations during this period, which is higher than the last period as well. And what are we seeing in those trends? There was a big jump here for some reason, a large increase. We can also look at whether or not the competing brands are getting that same sort of lift, and we do see that lift, but to a lesser degree. So that's pretty interesting and in favor of Toyota here. I'm curious about why that would be. I know that Denny Hamlin just won a NASCAR event. He races for Toyota. That could have been something like that, maybe on the periphery of where they'd be focusing on as far as brand, or some other newsworthy um, event that could have triggered this big spike that also may have lifted other brands. And then we can see what the topics are in this case, and we can analyze those one by one. Was this hybrid vehicles? Was this pickup trucks, mid-size SUV, sedan, etc.? So when we have more movement here, especially, we can be more specific with digging into those brands the topics, and those can be set up. We can track a number of topics here as well for each brand. It doesn't have to be something that's auto-loaded. Same thing with the prompts that we're measuring here as well, which is one of the unique elements of Xofu. Is I can load custom prompts here if I know specifically what I want to track. So we get this high-level overview, looking at trends over time, looking at performing topics, and then seeing how our visibility scores against our top competition. And then we can dig into the brand here. So here I'm looking for trends as well over a longer period of time, and I can see the same thing for competitors. Is somebody moving? This is interesting that Honda seems like they have been kind of outperforming here in the short term. That would be interesting. I might want to see what's changing with Honda. Same thing with Nissan. They've got a little bit of a spike here and an upward trend as well. Toyota looks relatively stable over this period of time. So that could be something that if I'm Toyota, I want to dig into. And especially if I'm one of the competition, one of these competitors, I also want to see and track what's happening with an increase in visibility over that period of time. But Toyota clearly is established as the front runner in terms of the visibility. Now I can see that explicitly. Here's my visibility score rank, and how that matches up against the competition, and how that's changed over time. So we can see Mazda has bumped up, Nissan, as I saw before in the chart, has bumped up as well. And we can see relative to the number of citations as well. And then separate from visibility score, I can look at my percentage of the share of voice. I can see that trend, monitor that trend over time, add the competitors in here as well, and look for spikes, identify outliers, and get a longer term sense for how my brand is performing. I can see my share of voice rank here as well, how that's changing over time. And especially if I'm seeing my rank drop, for example, and I may want to, that may be a signal for me to dig into the topics again, see what's moving, and look for opportunities from a content perspective, and of course from a backlink building perspective. Are there specific topics that we want to double down on and push our visibility further? And from a content perspective as well, if we're losing visibility, that may mean that we need to refresh our content. We might want to look at how we're presenting that content. Are we providing net new, unique content that we're surfacing for AI models to include in their prompt responses to increase our visibility and share of voice? And then looking at it from a ranking perspective, how are we ranking over time? We can trend that. It's a nice upward trend here for the brand. How is that relative to the competition? Especially if we're losing, I want to pay attention to that and just make sure that I'm gaining over time, that I'm growing my brand, especially relative to my top competitors here that I'm tracking. And then how is that changing over time as well? And then I can dig into my citations. Also, who's mentioning me? Um, where is the visibility coming from in terms of top media? platforms that are mentioning us, how is my citation score changing over time? In this case, it's going in the right direction. I want to monitor and report that. How does it look relative to the competitors? Monitor and report that as well to make sure that I am growing my visibility. In this case, it looks like I have room to grow relative to that competition. So I want to pay attention to that and look for actionable ways that I can influence that over time. And then check in with my, as well as I can look more deeper in this, check in with my mentions, my citations, where are they coming from? When I'm creating content, who's picking it up? And is that being absorbed by the LLM? So this can become very actionable. We can start high level and look at relative to the competition, what does my brand visibility look like? That can get more granular, and I can spend more time thinking about specific publications, specific media channels that I want to focus on to gain visibility through those citations to better feed the AI models and grow my visibility overall. So take a look at Xofu.com. You can sign up for free, and there are always free features available. And then you can certainly reach out to us and we can explore whether a premium engagement would make sense from this perspective, either using the tool directly or using the tool in order to inform a content or link building engagement so that we can take care of raising that visibility for you.